Give us an idea as to why you believe Pak Jong Chon was targeted by Kim Jong Un.
Well, I think there are two types of dismissals. The first is a purge, a complete removal of all positions, and sometimes some punishment or even execution. But there are also dismissals that are simply rotational changes, and I think this case is the latter instance. It's interesting in the North Korean military, it's not uncommon for senior military officers to be promoted, demoted, and then promoted again. And that's been the case with Pak Jong Chon. Between 2013 and 2019, he had gone up and down between two-star, three-star, four-star general. And then in the last 2.5 years, he went from vice marshal to marshal, then demoted to vice marshal and marshal again. So I think this is a rotational change, and his background, he's a professional military officer. His background is in artillery and strike forces. So I think he's being redeployed to take on some other position.
So what might we read into this in terms of militarily this year? What they may be intending, because as I mentioned in the beginning, it was a very aggressive and assertive North Korea with those record missile tests.
Right, we'll have to see, and we have to speculate still at this time. Now, Pak had also been, or he also was a Politburo Presidium member, and the announcements, or North Korean media did not announce his dismissal there, but 2 days ago he was not accompanying Kim Jong Un on the visit to the palace where Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, their corpses lie. So we assume he's been removed from that. Now he's been replaced by Lee Yong-gil, two guys who have rotated before. Now Lee Yong-gil is also a professional military officer. He's the Minister of Defense. He had been the Chief of the General Staff. We don't know if Pak has been removed from the Chief of the General Staff. And Lee Yong-gil's position is operations, so joint operations. And he's moving into this new position where Pak, the artillery guy and strike forces guy, has been removed. I think he could be taking on some position to integrate some of the new weapon systems into the military units, but we'll have to see and watch for reporting of that.
Yeah. So, North Korea has been trying to get the attention primarily of the US because of its nuclear ambitions. The US isn't responding. What it is doing with the South is actually retaliating to many of these missile strikes and this change in pace. Does that create ongoing tension on the peninsula?
Well, I think North Korea has a different agenda. The leadership has a different agenda. Many people assume that it's to get the attention of the U.S. I think Kim, and he said in his report at the plenum last week, at the party plenum, that the world is moving towards multipolarity and the world is unstable. It kind of tracks the narrative of Putin and others that looking at the decline of the U.S. So in that kind of international environment, having greater strength, having greater military capabilities is seen to be an advantage. So in the shadow of this kind of world situation, as Kim views it, he wants to push the agenda, gain military leverage, so that if there's an opportunity to change the status quo on the Korean Peninsula or in East Asia, he would like to take advantage of that.
But is he gaining any military ascendancy there?
Well, that's debatable. I'm skeptical because as far as their nuclear arsenal, the marginal utility of an extra weapon, once you get over 50 or 100 or something, I think it's negligible. However, they are looking to expand a number of different capabilities in terms of multiple rocket systems, tactical nuclear weapons, submarines that can launch ballistic missiles and so forth. So they'll continue doing this, but it's at with an opportunity cost, of course, in terms of the drag on their economy, and there's a cost of their conventional forces. So this increase in nuclear capability is something, in my view, you can't really use. So I think they're kind of stuck in this low-level equilibrium and they could remain there for some time.
Indeed. Tell us a little about the domestic pressures. They were closed down, locked down for most of last year and the year before because of COVID. Do you think you'll start seeing them opening up a little bit and the economy recovering somewhat?
Well, this is the dilemma they face, right? And their economy is so dependent upon China. And with the recent outbreak in China, that's really going to impact North Korea and their ability to open up. So despite their plans to ease their controls and to open the economy to more trade, they might be constrained because of what's going on in China and if new variants emerge and so forth. So we'll have to see as the year goes on.